Hey friends, hey friends, you're watching BrainStormAcres. I'm Henry.
And I'm Irene.
Today we have some hard work to do. Well, not all that hard, but it's pretty important.
We're actually making progress today. We finally got a part in that we've been waiting for over a year.
18 months actually.
About 18 months now, come to think of it, yeah. So a couple of years ago, we bought a Berkey water filter. That's this guy right here. And we did that because we have very hard water here. And we drink a huge amount of water because we live in a very dry climate. We do not like using bottled water all the time. It's fine to use bottled water when we travel for safety reasons, because you can't guarantee local water supplies in the United States any more than you can in third world nations sometimes. And even if it's safe, changing the mineral content of your water suddenly day to day can upset your stomach a lot of times.
Yeah, it can do more than upset your stomach. It can give you a real case of let's not go there.
Yeah, right. Which is never fun when you're on the road and you're trying to wonder where the next truck stop or bush is. At home, we try not to use much in the way of bottled water. And in the past, we had to sometimes. We decided that even though the Berkeys are not inexpensive, it was a good backup plan for many reasons. One of the main reasons being it will remove really fine, like microbe type particles and stuff like that.
It'll get rid of all the bacteria for certain. It'll get rid of, I believe, a fair number of viruses. That gives you some added insurance. Now, our water is delivered here by water haul truck. How clean that water is depends an awful lot on the cleanliness of our supplier.
Right.
So rather than be out here and possibly get a real problem that we would need to go to the hospital for, we decided to go ahead and spring for a Berkey filter. And the Berkey filter works by some very specially designed cartridge filters that will filter out all of that stuff. Now, it doesn't filter out the minerals because those are completely dissolved in the water, but some of the minerals will accumulate on the filters.
And these filters, while not inexpensive, are good for, they're figuring at least 4 years, and I think that is actually for higher use than what we have. So we're hoping to get a couple more filters. I don't know, maybe we'll buy ourselves a set for Christmas. We'll see. They haven't always been available in the past couple of years because, again, people are buying them. People who live off-grid or who want to collect rainwater and drink that instead because they think it's healthier, well, it's not healthier if it has pathogens in it, and this will take care of the pathogen problem.
Now, a Berkey is a lot less expensive than building a water treatment facility for rainwater catchment. That requires that you have positive pressure. That means you may need a pump. You'll need multiple kinds of filters, and you'll also need the same kind of filter that's in the Berkey. It's just a bigger filter, and it's more expensive.
So this was an approachable thing for us to do. And one of the things that we decided after we'd had it for a while was we really wanted to get the sight tube. And unfortunately, we decided that right about the time that they were no longer available because they were just plain out of stock.
Actually,
Everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to the Berkey sites, I went to Layman's, I went to every source I could find on the internet, and the answer was out of stock.
We decided that after having had the Berkey filter for a small number of months. We're not talking about
it was
a year.
only a couple of months, and we decided it would just be handier to know how much water was in there all the time. It is not an instant filter. It will take a little time for the water to filter through. So if you screw up and let your water run out,
It's out.
it's out. It's out for probably half an hour.
Or more if you need more.
Right, depending on how much you need.
When I've let it get too low and then I fill it up with 2 or 3 gallons of water, it will take half an hour to get enough water to fill our tea kettle.
So that's just an inconvenience. We almost always have some bottled water or some other backup that we can use. There's been a bunch of times in the last year and a half in particular when we couldn't buy bottled water.
It wasn't
none available.
It wasn't available anywhere. The stores were cleaned out.
Yep.
And when I would ask the manager at our local convenience store when they're going to have some more in, they'd tell me, well, maybe Thursday when the truck comes in.
Right.
But I wouldn't count on it because we haven't gotten any for several weeks.
This to me is a much better solution than stockpiling bottled water.
At least for us. Hey, you know what?
Time to fix this.
Why don't we get it going?
Yeah. So, simple enough system. It's got a stainless steel lid. You can see there's some condensation in there. That's fine, no problem. What I have done this morning is before we started this, I took this is the sight tube, and it's going to go right where the existing thing is, but it's going to provide a tube here, and the water will rise up inside that tube, so we'll be able to tell how much water is in the Berkey at all times. Now, I took this morning and washed it with plain old dish soap and fresh water and flushed it until it was clean, clean, clean. Another thing I did, and this is a brand new clean dish towel, so brand new clean. I have gotten a new sponge to do this all with. Why? Sponges and the washing rags that people use to do their dishes are a huge source of contamination. We change ours regularly. If we're not changing it, it'll either go in the dishwasher or it'll go in the microwave and get cooked to kill the bacteria. These things are supposed to be cleaned about once a month. They want you to take it apart completely and rinse it out, make sure there's no mold growing or anything else like that. We don't do it quite that often, but we're extremely fastidious about making sure that everything is clean, clean, clean every time we touch it. So I'm going to put this over in the dish drainer, and then I'm going to help Henry take this apart. There is some water sitting at the bottom. There's always some water sitting at the bottom.
Let me go grab a couple of towels.
Okay. Anyway, this is what the filters look like. They're just big. They look like big black things. And they call them black filters, actually. There's a couple of different kinds of filters. This pot has room for 4 more. I would like to get 2 more because that means that the water will come out faster, and it also increases the longevity of the filters. So I'm going to take this over to the sink while Henry gets this organized over here. And I'm going to wash this stuff just plain with soap and water, rinse it and turn it upside down. And Henry can tell you why we turn everything upside down.
You know, there's an awful lot of material in the air, dust in particular, a lot of dust here, in fact. All of that dust carries bacteria, mold, and other things on it. And by turning it upside down, we keep all those things from falling down and coating the surface. Now, one of the things you also get is you get yeast.
Now, if we were trying to do natural yeast fermentation, we would leave things top up, and we would encourage those yeasts. I used to have my own sourdough starter that I started the same way as the gold miners did. You basically take some wet flour and a little bit of milk and throw it out in the room and let the yeast settle on it. And it works perfectly. It works just as well. It worked just as well as the first time I ever did it in the, I don't know,
1970s.
As it did in the 1870s.
Now we have a little bit of mineralization on the inside of this bottom unit.
It looks like there's no. Sorry, I couldn't resist. It's like being in a shower. You always sound better in there. It looks like there's salt, almost. And what that is that's minerals that have, deposited on here. But that's okay. All we have to do is there's a nut on the inside here, which is probably going to be stuck because, well, that's what they usually are. Got it. Yay. There's actually some mineral deposits right here. What I will do is I will clean these guys up completely with vinegar, and I'll keep all the pieces to that. I need to rinse my hands off. There's some soap suds coming from someplace. There's some soap on the bottom.
Now the new spigot and sight gauge has two washers that go on the outside of the Berkey filter. When this goes to the wall of the accumulator down on the bottom of the Berkey filter, we'll put another washer that came with the unit on the inside, and then we'll tighten this nut up hand tight.
Yep. The other one worked the same way. They give you specific washers, and the reason you want to always use their washers is because these are food safe, and not all the washers they sell at the store are food safe. We're going to place the spigot in the chamber as shown. So that is the spigot right there. And we'll be putting it on upside down so that the so the stick will stick down. Two white washers on the outside.
They're there right now.
Yep. It says to use one black washer on the inside. Now they gave me two.
So we'll use one, and then we'll put the other one back in the plastic bag somewhere where we may be able to find it. Ooh, let's see if this fits in.
It's designed for this one. Some of the smaller ones, you cannot use it. Basically, on the bigger ones, they figure, you probably have a family and you probably have, people who are not paying attention. We're using all new, but we'll keep the old. There does not appear to be anything wrong with the old.
Now they should be the same size because they're going through the same hole. That's interesting, they're not.
They're not. They're a different thread.
So that one has a flange on the bottom to hold the washer in place.
Okay.
Let me put this old washer onto the old spigot.
Yes, you want to keep all the pieces together, because if this were to break for some reason or turn out to be faulty and leak somewhere, we want to make sure we can still have water. I'm going to throw some water in here and rinse it, just because we've had our grubby hands on there.
Grubby hands. She can't hear.
And here comes the nerve-wracking part, putting water in there and see if it leaks. It didn't last time. And I followed their instructions. What I did was I took this to 9 o'clock like this, and I tightened that
Finger tight.
Yep. And then you bring it up while holding the nut, which cranks it tighter.
Another quarter turn.
I suppose we could just pour it back in.
I'll pour part of it back in.
Part of it back in. All we need to do is get up above the little thing here.
Yeah, the sight gauge has a metal covering. Looks like it's another stainless steel.
Yeah, this is stainless steel. This is glass. And because that way you don't have to worry about any contamination from plastics. And it has a hole in the top of the stainless steel thing here.
Well, shall we go ahead and put the top in, put this in position, put the top in, and we can refilter this water again?
Sure. I had a really nice container up here that was really pretty, but the spigot died on it, and it's an unusual, yes, made in China, size spigot, and I tried to replace it, and I could not find a replacement spigot for it anywhere. And it's unfortunate because it's a piece of ceramic, so it's beautiful, and it's colorful and all that kind of stuff. It's got great paintings on it. However, couldn't do that, and I tried putting this up here. Well, the problem with that is, that means you're adding water right about here, and I don't like having to get up on a stool to add water. I just, so we decided we would put it here instead.
Which way do you want the Berkey label to face?
Oh, I always make the label face the spigot, just to be pretty.
Well, I don't know, pretty would be over here.
No.
I think so. Well, let's see if I can make a mess.
Oh, I'm sure you have that capability. Taking all drips off means we'll know very quickly if we have any issues with drips. Well, so far I do not see any leaks. I see drips that are coming down from changing things, but I do not see any leaks, so I think we're done.
All right.
We'll watch it, obviously, and it'll be fun to see the water actually come up in here.
This sight gauge works by having a tube that goes all the way from down here up to the top, but it's open at the top, so there's actually a small fitting at the top here that's attached to the stainless steel to help keep dust and things like that out. But you do need to have this tube open to the air,
Right.
at least in some fashion. Otherwise, the water wouldn't come up.
That's right. You'd wind up with a pressure column here of air. And as we all know, anybody who's ever done plumbing and has gotten water in the lines knows that if you get an air bubble in there, or for that matter, if you're working on your car and you get an air bubble in your gasoline lines, yeah, nothing happens, nothing good happens. So, our progress for the morning, we have actually gotten something done. Yay! And it's not even noon. Close to it though. Painfully close to it.
You have class soon.
Yes, I do. Anyway.
And I need to get cooking because I have to have something ready for a potluck tonight, yeah, that I have to go to that you can't go to.
That's right, because I'll still be in class.
You know what time it is?
Yes, it's time to say that people should like and subscribe because we're obviously going to be doing a ton more stuff. We are not rabid preppers. We are thoughtful people who are trying to be prepared for what I would call pretty normal disasters.
Sometimes things happen.
Stuff can happen. I don't care where you are in the United States. Tornadoes, earthquakes, floods of various sorts.
Every part of the planet is subject to
something.
Things happening. So, you know what, Irene?
Yes. So until next time. Bye.
Bye. Keep brainstorming.
We do.